Welcome to Wednesday night vegetable soup, where we nourishing and producing and promoting women, phenomenal women who have survived and who are thriving. Thank you for joining us tonight on this special evening. I have a really special guest, and I woke up this morning. Synchronicity is strong in my life. I woke up this morning thinking this Wednesday show about vegetable soup needs a phenomenal woman who has survived and thrived. And guess what? She appeared on TikTok. So that's who my guest is, this amazing woman who just showed up divinely. That's the way things are running in my life. Everything is so divine. So let's welcome the Tiny House Village, and we're going to get right to my guest because she is waiting for us. To the Others Tiny House Village and Wednesday night vegetable soup for women. I started doing this show every Wednesday after 9 authors came together and created this book. And I was blessed to be one of those authors. And there are more than 9 stories in here, a collection of stories that nourish your body, mind, and finances. So every Wednesday, I've been here promoting this book and offering a really special gift to you in this book because it was amazing how it came together. So if you would like to get your hands on a copy of this book, just send a Cash App to me for, I think I'm offering it for $3.99 right now. And I'll send you a copy. Just an amazing, divine production of authors coming together to share their stories, especially to nourish you in your body, mind, and finances. And the movie that inspired me to actually contribute to this book was the movie Straw by Tyler Perry. It was, to me, a very depressing movie of a woman who did not thrive at all. In fact, she just barely survived. And then in the end of the movie, she went to prison. So I thought at the end of the movie, I said, that's ridiculous. Let's come up with some solutions for that type of story. And so every Wednesday I'm here, and I am so grateful that the universe is answering my prayer, my thoughts, my intention to bring together women who are just phenomenal in their being, in their spirit, in their soul. And so let me introduce you to Dr. Sherry.
Hi.
Welcome, my friend, sister, Facebook, TikTok friend, all of that. We are really moving and grooving.
It's good to see you again.
Yeah, this is her second visit here, right?
Yes, that's the second time. So thanks for having me, and congrats on your book. That's a wonderful idea. And you've been exaggerating. I'm not phenomenal. I'm a normal person. So you're making more than it is. So.
Well, you're humble, but I think you're phenomenal because your life is unique. When I finished my dad's book, I wrote his autobiography, published it, spent a lot of money on it. And when I presented it to him, this amazing man in my life, a legend in his time, football player in the 40s, 50s, survived to 95 years old. You know what he said to me? Everybody has a story. He did not think it was a big deal. But those words stuck with me because everyone's story, I think, is phenomenal if it can help others.
Yes, I agree.
And so you showing up on TikTok today reminded me that Americans, no matter where they were born, where they're from, we need to come together. We need to unify as Americans.
Mhm.
I don't
Yep.
care where you are from, and your experience with Iran, I think, needs to be shared. So,
Mhm. Mhm.
Dr. Sherry, please give us a little background for our audience, and then share with us, the update that we need to hear.
Yeah. So right now, Iran is all over the news, and if anybody doesn't know, please follow up because it's important for the voices to be heard. I'm from originally from Iran, but I grew up in Germany and the U.S. and was in France. And the reason that I left Iran, or better, my family left Iran, is because when this regime took over, the Islamic regime of Iran, that was in 1979, 47 years ago. They're very radical and they started persecuting Baha'is. And Baha'i is a religious minority, very peaceful and working towards unity, global unity, actually. And so we had to flee Iran, and I have even family members that were executed, imprisoned, that were just because of their faith. They were not even politically active, they were not against the regime, anything. They were simply put in prison because of their beliefs. And this persecution is still continuing until now. They're still in prison. There's right now a woman called Mahvash Sabet. She's in her 70s, completely innocent, and she's been in prison for 10 years now. And many others. They deny them higher education. They confiscate their belongings. They don't even leave them in peace in their graves. So this is a very, very ruthless regime that over time has become even more cruel. And at this time, the Iranian population has had enough, and millions all over Iran are on the streets. Are you still there? Hello? Are you still there? I think she lost me. Hmm?
No, just keep. You know what?
I thought you. Yeah,
There
you lost.
is something weird going on about putting in Iran, talking about Iran.
Oh,
Maybe
are you serious?
it might be me, but my computer's been acting weird. So if I leave, just keep talking because
Okay.
I'll come right back in because that's what it did. It just pushed me out.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll come right back in. So keep going. You were saying all your friends, relatives who've been persecuted. Now, what's this 70-year-old woman you said who's been in there prison for 10 years?
Yeah, her name is Mahfash Sabet, and she's been in prison just because of her faith. And as I mentioned, the Baha'is are still being harassed, persecuted in Iran. So that's one thing. But right now, it's everyone who's asking for their basic freedoms. So the media wants to say it's because of economic pressure, but that's not it. So basically, Iran is like a controlling husband, the Islamic regime is like a controlling husband that beats his wife and children. No matter how often the wife asks for help, it's not heard. She tries to leave, she's beaten down. So all the time, it's literally like that. And Iran, I'm not calling it Iran because that's not what Iran was. It's the Islamic regime right now. They will rather kill all of the population and themselves instead of just leaving or accepting defeat. So, what would you do in a situation when you know of a beaten up wife, controlled wife, that cannot get free? So, we need to bring police in and save the woman, the kids, and put a restraining order. So the question right now all over the media is, oh, should US intervene, should they not intervene, why should they? And I see all this misinformation in the media that they're comparing the situation of Iran with what happened in Gaza. They're completely different issues. In Iran, the people want to be free. There are millions out in the street, and the worst part is that as of now, in the just last 2 days, they killed 12,000 people. They're shooting just indiscriminately into the masses. So it's just, the atrocity is so awful that people cannot believe it when I say that's the case. And sadly, they don't believe it because of the media manipulation of between left and right and left and right. But that's the reality. And I'm just one example. I haven't been to the country that my parents were born in, the language I speak, the culture I still have, the foods that I eat, the music I listen to for the past 47 years, because I have to be afraid of that.
So I had a guest on, Dr. Sherry, Sunday from Venezuela.
Mm-hmm.
Her story is very similar. She has family. She hasn't seen her father in 20 years. They're starving the people. So who do you think the police should be to save this wife who's being oppressed and beaten? What police organization? America? Even Israel, it wants to get in there and do something. What's your view on who should be saving the wife?
I think any country that claims to care about human rights. The UN is quiet. United Nations, what are you there for? What is your job? There's completely quiet. So what are they doing? They tweet once in a while, oh, these killings need to stop. We are condemning these killings. What are you doing about it? So talk is cheap. Action. We need action.
But isn't that where the similarity with Gaza is? We've been saying that for how many years? Talk is cheap. Why are you letting this genocide take place? So it almost sounds like there's also a genocide taking place in Iran.
Right. And the worst part is by their own government that they never elected. They just took over, long time. And you're right. It's very similar to what happened to Venezuela. And I wasn't that much well informed, even though in Florida we have so many Venezuelans. But once it happened, I heard the stories. I'm like, oh my God, it's like the same story. And believe me, all the Iranians all around the world are begging and praying that the same thing will happen in Iran. They want that. But unfortunately, the media pretends as if this is a Zionist plot or so and so. No.
So you, as a former Iranian citizen, what was it like for you? How long did you stay in Iran? Where you were born there, right?
No, actually, I was born in the U.S. at the time. My dad was studying in the U.S. and then they moved back to Iran. So with my mom. So my dad got married in Iran. He went back to the U.S. to finish his studies, and then they moved back to Iran after he was done. So shortly after that, I was about 7 years old is when this revolution started, and the place that gave us refuge was Germany. So I grew up in Germany and went to school there and everything and then we moved. Got married, went to France for 2 years, and then I came to the US. So I have seen quite a bit of the world, and sometimes it saddens me to see how Americans don't realize how lucky they are. And the thing that is actually destroying this country is neither the Republicans nor the Democrats, because we all want a better future. That's obvious, What is destroying this country is the misinformation from both sides, and the social media algorithms, the media outlets. They have chosen a side, and that's what they want to portray, and they just want to instill fear and rage. Instead of looking what we have in common and what we can build on, they look at what is dividing us and then fuel into the fire and make things worse. So, and that's very sad, because that's exactly what happens then when these dictatorships and stuff like Iran. That's how it happens. It starts with propaganda, and we are starting to see a lot of propaganda here also in this country.
Well, we're seeing so much chaos in this country that, I mean, look at what happened in Minnesota with Miss Good. I have heard so much about that story that convinces me it's all a psyop and it's actors playing their role to divide and cause chaos again.
Yep.
It's like so not just the media, but I would say the deep state and the war complex.
Yeah.
We have, especially men. That's why I call you phenomenal, because it's up to the women. The men are busy playing war games, promoting war, and doing nothing to save the babies. Okay. So
Yeah.
we as mothers of the female energy to protect and nurture, we are the only ones screaming, it seems, to stop all this war and murdering and suffering. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why you're phenomenal. I'm phenomenal. I think any of us who are at least speaking up against what we're seeing, the suffering and the killing, we are phenomenal, because we're not going to see the industrial war complex do anything. They have the business of making more weapons, making more money,
Yeah.
and killing more people,
Yeah.
basically, which is mostly male dominated mindset.
Yeah. Talking about women, interestingly, what's different between the US and Iran, for example, because I've heard some people saying, oh, we're going into the same direction like Iran. I'm like, really? Um, for example, what the tragic event in Minnesota was awful, but people can protest it. They go on the street, they can say that was wrong, we don't want it, they can cover it, they can talk about it. Just 3 years ago in Iran, a woman called Masa Amini was not wearing her hijab correctly. She wasn't wearing it correctly. So she was taken by the morality police and she was killed just because of that. So newspapers took it on, they wrote about it, and people, especially women, they rose up. There was huge protest because the hijab there is mandatory and you cannot, it's not a choice. And the young women would take off their hijab, throw them away, and instead of the state taking note and backing down a little bit and understanding, okay, maybe we are doing something wrong, they started killing more people. More young women were killed who were standing up for the basic freedoms and how to dress, what to believe. I mean, that's the worst part. You cannot impose an ideology that you disguise as the name of a religion. That is not Islam, what they're practicing. That is sheer dictatorialship and tyranny, not a religion. Because religion gives you choice. Religion you're not born with, okay? And that's what people don't understand. Religion is not a race, it's a choice, not an ethnicity. It's a choice, what you believe, what you practice.
And religion is cultural, to give people the freedom to support the culture they were raised in. Christianity, for example, is more cultural to me, because there are so many things, Christmas and Easter and all the things that go along with Christianity, which I'm
Mhm.
not really a part of anymore. But that's a culture
Yes.
that we can respect. We're not forced to do it anymore. We never were forced. But you're absolutely right about that. The Muslim Islamic faith is very controlling, in my opinion. So it's a culture, though, and many women who wear the hijab, they don't complain about it, right?
Yeah,
Um,
you can do it whenever you want. If you feel that's a part of you, this is how you want to do it, go ahead. But you cannot force it on others. And unfortunately, the worst part is the people have to believe those mullahs there. They tell them whatever they're very uneducated people, most of them. They tell them whatever they want. And one horrible example I can give you is that when they want to execute girls that are virgins, they rape them before they execute them, because if they die, yeah, that's reality, if they die as virgins, they will go into heaven.
Oh my
So
goodness.
complete absurd teachings that they're teaching them.
Now that's really shocking.
It is. It is. And dude, again, 3 years ago, so many women, they were kidnapped, they were raped, they were beaten up, they were killed, and their bodies were not returned to their parents. And when the parents were crying, lamenting, they too got arrested. So that's what I'm telling you. There is no limit to what they will do just to stay in power.
So, Brother Kwame to know says, great, everything for the revolution. Everything for the revolution. This is surely a time for a global revolution. When you think about Venezuela in the South American continent, and then, way on the other side of the ocean, we've got Iran, and how many other oppressive regimes are operating? I mean, we don't even talk about Israel. Oh my goodness, because they're just as bad as all the rest, and yet Israel wants to go bomb Iran, and so it's so confusing for Americans who are really comfortable here when you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got a lot of oppressive things like ICE roam in the streets. That's like so horrible for some people. But when you think about what you just said about how women are treated so horrifically, so boldly, I don't know that we're getting the same level of horror in the United States as that, where girls are raped before they're killed. I mean, that happens in different sections of the United States, I'm sure. We've got rape. Even I saw a video of a veteran, a U.S. military veteran, a woman who said 9 reasons why you should never join the military. And one of them was harassment. And I have yet to meet any female veterans that weren't sexually harassed. So when you think about the level of abuse in Iran, we have the same abuse going on here, but it's probably in a more subtle way, in a more hidden way. Because if you're joining the United States military and you have officers raping women in the military, what does that say about? That's the same mentality that's going on in Iran regime.
Yeah. But the only difference is you can report them here. You can go and have the Me Too movement, and so we can fight for our rights. But in Iran, the word of one man is equal of the word of 3 women. So in the law, women are less than men, but not here. Here we are equal, but of course we always had to fight to improve the rights of women. But when you're met with rape and bullets for speaking up, it gets a little bit harder.
Well, even in the military, unfortunately, the women who do report the sexual assault, nothing happens. From what I'm hearing, from what they've told me, hardly anything happens. In fact, they will actually move some of those women into areas where they're isolated and can't even talk. So I think, you know what, this, Dr. Sherry, this is a global problem. It's not just in Iran. It's just more obvious because the media is highlighting it in many ways, and you're talking about it, but it's happening in the United States as well. And we could call it male insanity, male domination. It's just a problem, I think, mostly with male mindset, male create insanity. I want to say male insanity. And we're not talking about every man, but the perpetration of these crimes is the greater majority of them are being done by men.
Yeah, globally we're facing many problems. I mean, the issue with women has been for centuries and is still going on. In order to fix these issues, we need a complete spiritual revolution, a raising in our consciousness. And I see you have those chakras behind you. So we need to level up on those chakras and become more conscious spiritual beings and nurture our compassion, our virtues, it has become unpopular to talk about virtues and spiritual growth and all these things. And that's what we need. That's also something that is missing. As much as, Trump was elected correctly, but I wish he wouldn't have this language, this dismissive language. If he had a more elevated language, a more noble talk language to talk to human, he would be an example for everybody. He can be an example of how successful he is, how rich he is, but we need examples in terms of good moral character. Okay, and if you have then intelligence and education and good character leading the nation, that's what's going to happen. So why did Iran go all the way bad? Because the leaders didn't have any of them. They didn't have the intellect, no education, and no moral things. So these three would be very helpful to pull a nation up in terms of consciousness and riches and prosperity.
Yes, absolutely. But you said something very important. Our priority should be spiritual growth.
Yes.
That is, and I don't think we have enough conscious people even who are making spiritual growth their priority.
Exactly. Or society as a whole doesn't do that.
Absolutely.
Society as a whole need to do that.
Absolutely.
I mean, yes, we have taken religion out of schools and stuff because we don't know which religion to teach, but we can always teach ethics and spiritual contract. And that's actually what Baha'is do. Everywhere around the globe, they have children lessons, children classes that help kids have critical thinking and also polish their character and realize that they're noble beings with a higher purpose.
Now, how did you get introduced to the Baha'i faith? Because your parents are Muslim.
No.
Well, even though they grew up in Iran, they were not Muslim.
Not Iran has Zoroastrians, Hindus, Jews, Muslims, and Baha'is. And that's another mistake that the media makes. They think Iran must be Muslim. It's not. It's never been that way. It has never been. But my ancestors were Jewish, but from my great grandmother, they converted or they started believing in the teachings of the Baha'i faith. So that's what they're following. But in the Baha'i faith, you're not born into a religion, you choose. At the age of 15, you learn about all the religions and everything, and then you can choose to be a Baha'i or not to be a Baha'i. So my children are not automatically Baha'i. And because one important principle of the Baha'i faith is the independent investigation of truth. We have to educate ourselves and choose on our own and not impose anything, especially when it comes to spiritual beliefs and religion.
So when we prioritize, let's say when we prioritize spiritual maturity, spiritual growth, that means you don't have to have any religion, right? Or any institution that you're affiliated with, because your spirituality is in your eternal soul existence, realization, or awareness, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even being a Baha'i is just a choice to identify with a culture of people, an intellectual thought process, basically, because as you said, they don't force you to be a Baha'i, but if you like the teachings, you like the study and all that, you should join this organization, right?
Well, that's true. I mean, spiritual journey and learning does not need a name. However, Baha'i faith is not an ideology. It claims to be a manifestation of God, just like Buddhism, Christianity, Judaism, Islam. It just claims it's the youngest from this progressive revelations. Okay, and every religion brings two aspects in life. One is spiritual, the other one is material. So the spiritual teaching of a religion is always pray to God, be kind to another, love each other, be detached from material things, and understand that your spirit temporary on this world, and there will be an after. These are spiritual teachings in a religion. But there's also material teachings in a religion with laws that are adapted to the time of the appearance. Okay, so Baha'i faith, besides the spiritual laws that I mentioned, has also a plan for actual world unity, because we are not just doing our own spiritual growth without actively working on improving the world. Just like one of them that was talking about is this teaching the children to be have a good character, a lot of service oriented mind, to how can we better the world, how can we be of service to improve the world. And I cannot go into the details, but the Baha'i faith, Baha'u'llah, who was the messenger of the Baha'i faith, had a complete plan on how our next step as evolutionary, next step as a humanity will be a one world, unity in diversity. And you can see that we are one world. See, everybody depends on each other, but instead of making it wars, it should become cooperation. So Baha'u'llah says the earth is one country and mankind is its citizens. That's why my name on my Instagram is Sherry World Citizen, because I did not choose where I'm born, which face color I have, what race I am. I didn't choose that, But if I'm conscious about that I'm a creation of God, just like everybody else, and we all have the same value, then my vision is world embracing. And that's what Baha'u'llah says. Let your vision be world embracing.
So what is the message you want Americans to hear tonight, especially? And then we have someone who wants to call in, and I'll read some comments. But I want to ask you first, what is it in your understanding, in your mind, what do you want to have, what do you want to express to especially Americans today, how we can unify with our global brothers and sisters? What do you think is the best plan to bring about more unity with our global brothers and sisters?
My first thing is, don't fear cognitive dissonance. We are always so quick to make up our mind. This is right, this is left, this is wrong, this is right. That's one thing. Okay, so second one, don't fall into the trap of divisive political agendas. This is the furthest from creating unity. And thirdly, when you get your information, make sure you get sources that are the opposite of what you believe. You don't have to believe it, you don't have to like it, you don't have to follow it, but at least it opens your mind to think critically, because without opposing views and knowledge, there's no critical thinking. There's just indoctrination. That's my number one message.
That's a good point. Now, you mentioned cognitive dissonance. Explain that a little further for some who are not familiar with that term.
Cognitive dissonance is when you have lived by a belief system for a long time, and you're always looking for confirmation bias. You're looking for things that tells you, oh, you're right. See, I was right. I was right. But you're only looking in that channel. So of course you get, you're right. But if you look on the other side without emotions, without rage, and just listen, then you can learn. And actually, I learned that from my son, because we had some different views on some world issues. And I was already determined. And he told me, and at the beginning, I was also reactive until I started actually listening. I'm like, he's right. He's right. And it completely changed my viewpoints. So it's only enriching to listen to other viewpoints if we don't let it emotionally take over us, you know.
So you would say cognitive dissonance is being somewhat strict or rigid in your own beliefs and not considering other perspectives or beliefs?
Yes, yes. And or you get faced with a new fact that goes against what you're believing, and so you just dismiss it because that's cognitive dissonance, you know.
Right, right. Okay, let me read some comments here. Okay, I read that. Okay, Kwame says World Economic Forum annual meeting, a spirit of dialogue on the 19th through the 23rd of January. Are you familiar with that event?
No, I don't know the event. I know the World Economic Forum.
Okay, maybe we'll have him elaborate on that. He's going to call in. I think I saw something about him wanting to call in. And then he says cosmic clues and human questions. What can the universe's most elusive phenomena, which is dark matter, supermassive black holes, and cosmic acceleration, teach us about the limits of human knowledge? Well, Kwame, I don't know how that relates to what we're talking about tonight, but you're welcome to call in, because I'd like you to bring this into relevance to what we're talking about tonight with Iran and turmoil and the oppressive regimes that we're seeing going on and how we can unify. So are you saying this is a way for us to unify, is to be more aware of these cosmic clues and get out of this awareness that we have of all the suffering? So Kwame is on the line and your mic is open. Welcome.
And greetings to your guest. An excellent comment about the Baha'i faith and Bilal. The thing that I'm understanding, why I was saying that was the World Conference is happening on the 19th. And what it's saying is, the whole thing of it is that the theme of it is about the spiritual. And what they have, this is one of the programs that they were presenting, of human question. And this is what the world is looking at. We're no longer looking at ourselves as religion. We're all humans on the planet. As people ask me, what am I? I'll say I'm a cosmic citizen, because I came from the cosmos and took on a human existence on the planet. The part for what we're looking at is we're moving from a Homo sapien to a Homo spiritus. And this is the evolution of what the human being is doing now that we have realigned ourselves back in our Milky Way galaxy, and how the planetary alignments and how we are taking our next step of taking our knowledge and using it in the techno-spiritual. But we have to always remember we have the divine intellect, which is cosmic knowledge, cosmic consciousness. This is where all of this exists from, is the cosmic. We're just receiving the downloads and perceiving as receivers, transmitting through being and becoming the human, as showing the existence of what the universe is created. That's what I wanted to share.
Dr. Sherry, would you like to respond?
I don't have anything to respond. That was a very interesting analysis and could quite be the case. I don't know much about it to comment further, but it was an interesting comment on this.
So, in other words, I think, Kwame, you're saying our consciousness and our awareness of the struggle that people are having in Iran or Venezuela or Gaza can evolve into an awareness of the cosmic order, that we are microcosms of this big universe. In fact, what I hear you saying is that we can not be sad about it as much when we think about where we fit in this universal, bigger perspective. Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying, what I'm sharing is that this forum that they're having now is called the World Economic Annual Meeting. They have this every year. And what the dialogue, the theme of this year's meeting is a spirit of dialogue. What we're doing is all of those people coming there are spirits. They're spirits from all over the planet. And these spirits are communicating in how are we going to take our spiritual oneness and develop an economic, sustainable planet.
Now I understand.
That's what's happening in this individuation when they're all human beings, because when the sun rises, it casts a shadow on everything that is shining, and every shadow when you look at the ground is the same color. So how are you different?
Yeah, now I understand. Yeah, this is actually, I think so, you are referring to that spiritual evolution that I was talking about, this this awareness of our unity and oneness. I mean, that's our next evolving into this next phase of world order. However, the World Economic Forum has become somehow it's been criticized for some issues. I don't know if that one is really spiritual or not. I don't know.
Yeah, I pulled up that was my trigger. I think is when you mentioned the WEF. It's like, ooh.
Yeah, it's very controversial. The World
Economic, very, very controversial. In fact, if you even Google it, they're having an annual meeting here. The World Economic Forum is an international advocacy non-governmental organization and think tank based in Colony Canton of Geneva, Switzerland, which is a cesspool of weird things. It was founded on 24th January by German engineer Klaus Schwab.
Yeah, and he is very much controversial.
Oh my goodness, is he controversial? Yeah. So just and I can see hope in what they're doing, but let me wait and see what happens with that. Because annual meeting, their strategy, for instance, they have here 55 enabling global cooperation, strengths are more by convening stakeholders, building trust, facilitating progress. We align our work around the 3 high impact area: growth, resilience, innovation. Partners across the facility, blah blah blah. We collaboration 5 interconnected global challenges: growth, geopolitics, technology, people, and planet. From trade, investment, financial stability to energy transition, digital trust, skills, and health. Let's just see what our mission is: to improve the state of the world through public-private cooperation. Values are integrity, impartiality, independence, respect, and resilience. So, I think you and I, Dr. Sherry, are thinking the same way. Let's just see what happens, because their reputation is horrible, in my opinion.
Yeah, unfortunately, in terms of that, but the idea, I mean, we hear also a lot of the New World Order, okay? And interestingly, this was something also that term Baha'i is used for a long, long time. But there's 2 types of world order. One is just to take over and be in control of the finances of everybody and just control. The other one, the New World Global, is how to connect the world in a way that everyone profits, plus the spiritual guidance and the spiritual attitude and consciousness that is required for justice, equity, and unity and prosperity.
And so is the Baha'i sending out, praying, meditating on that on a regular basis?
Yeah, prayer is very important in the Baha'i faith. This is something that connects you to the spiritual world. It's, meditation, prayer, just like the Christian do, Jews do. But the thing is, we don't have to go to churches, synagogues, or mosques to pray. We can pray anywhere, anytime. And interestingly, even doing art is considered prayer. Mindfulness is considered prayer. There is a quote by Abdu'l-Baha says, strive that your actions day by day may be beautiful prayers. Good actions are prayers, you know. So it's not just sitting there and reading empty words, and so it's either really deep meditation and connecting to the source, or bringing also action and mindfulness into the realms of prayer and energy, you know, the energy you give to the world.
So, do you have a prayer or meditation you'd like to share with us as something to move us forward and continue to thinking unity and evolving spiritually?
Sure. Let me find one.
And this is where I think this chaos is needed to transition us out of the third dimensional, materialistic, got to be in a building with a candle and chairs. It's time for us to realize the creator is within, the kingdom is within, and for all of us to send energy to Iran and the people for healing. If we are more conscious about our power collectively, unified, we can change these situations in Venezuela and Iran. We are working, you and I, phenomenal woman, to build a consciousness and awareness that we are the change. We are the ones we've been waiting for. That's a Hopi prophecy.
Yes.
We're the ones. We cannot depend on our government, religion, it's us. So Sherry, Dr. Sherry, go ahead with your meditation.
I say the prayer in the closing. Okay. Oh my God, unite the hearts of thy servants and reveal to them thy great purpose. May they follow thy commandments and abide in thy law. Help them, O God, in their endeavor and grant them strength to serve thee. O God, leave them not to themselves, but guide their steps by the light of thy knowledge, and cheer their hearts by thy love. Verily, thou art their helper and their Lord. Baha'u'llah.
Thank you. Mama AZ is a strong Baha'i faith follower, believer in Arizona. I'm surprised she's not commenting, but she's in a situation right now in a nursing home where communication and sharing is difficult for her. But I hope she was hearing that prayer and joining us to continue to promote unity, no matter what your faith, no matter what your belief is. And I'm so glad I'm on TikTok with you. I'm on there. I'm trying to do 3 videos a day because I'm trying to build my brand, build my of unity. And I am a disease prevention coach on TikTok. And every morning I wake up thinking, what can I share to help people prevent disease, not only, but to bring unity?
But you know, TikTok is shadow banning a little bit when you talk. I mean, they shadow ban me. I'm like, all of a sudden I have like 9 views on topics. It's like,
yeah, you know why? Because the Israeli influence is there more than ever. They purchased it.
But I talk about health. Actually, it's the opposite. When I talk about Iran or other things like that, I get more views. But when I talk about health issues, and I think hashtags like inflammation or other things, they get shadow banned. So I have to look it up and like, okay, which things should I say?
Well, but the offense is deep wide for all of us who are shining a light. I had a video taken down on YouTube for medical misinformation. Yeah. And I'm like, what is you? But Facebook didn't take it down. So Facebook somehow, to me, has relaxed a little bit.
Yeah, it's become opposite. It was before. It was TikTok, you could say a lot of things, and now it's saying, but I mean, I don't have a problem with a little bit controlling because not everybody can come and say something, but I'm like, I'm trained, I'm not just, and I'm basing my stuff on references and studies, not just saying something. So that's the sad
So
part.
I think this is what we have to expect now. We don't really know where it's going to come from. I think the control and the idea that we're not speaking truth when we
Mhm.
are. So I think we have to be ready to pivot. Is what I'm getting at. We have to
Yeah.
be ready to pivot when they take a video down. I called my guest, said, listen, we need to go back on and do another one because they took this out because you said this and that. So I'm
Mhm.
just ready at any moment, and I hope all of us are, to pivot when the controlling elements show forth and say, well,
Mhm.
you can't say that. No,
Yeah.
we can say it. And I'm saying,
And
go
I
ahead.
hope your followers and everybody who was listening will follow up on Iran and raise up the voices of the people that are protesting on the streets. That's the main goal.
Absolutely. And that's what we're here tonight for, brothers, sisters, to remind us of our mission, our assignment, to bring more unity and love.
Yes.
More unity, more love, more wisdom.
Hmm.
Because this young generation is seriously lacking in wisdom. I'm concerned about this younger generation.
Well, I've seen here also having two complete extremes. There are those who are very well informed. I'm following some on Instagram. Like, wow, he's just maybe in his 20s, so well informed. And then there are those who are just like following Kardashians and makeup things. So I'm like, okay, it's two extremes again.
Exactly. There is this side that wants to be entertained and they don't want to be informed. Don't talk about the truth of Iran and Venezuela. I just want to watch Netflix movies and violence and more entertainment and learn about AI, blah 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 blah. And then there's the ones who are raising their consciousness, who want to make a difference. So thank you for coming on such short notice. But I recognized when I saw you that this was something you were passionate about and concerned about, and I thought, well, so am I. Let's do it. Let's get on here and say something.
Thank you for being a positive force in the world.
And
Uh,
you too.
I would too, yeah.
So let's do this again in 2026. I'll be calling on you again. We got to
Sure.
go back to some health topics in the next one.
Maybe. Okay, sounds good.
So love and blessings to you and your family.
Thank you.
I'll be listening to you on TikTok, and
Thank you for having me.
thank
Have
us.
a good
We say
evening.
thank us. We are united spirits, and so that's what we'll keep doing. And thank all of you for joining us tonight. And we say namaste to all my yogi friends and sat nam, ashe, ashe o, aho, aho, Native American energy, and shalom, shalom. Everybody have a good evening, and we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Shalom. So don't forget, if you are looking for some reading material, we do have the vegetable soup book, and if you send me a cash app for $3.99, you'll get the vegetable soup book in an email and PDF form. And I also have my book From Fear to Faith in the Master Design, which is a book about my journey with German new medicine and how to overcome cancer when you get to the root cause of it. So let us be increasing in our knowledge and our love and wisdom for each other. And let us not be lacking in spiritual growth as a priority. This is what I believe will change this global situation of war and more war. Spirituality as a priority in your life, evolving. It's time to evolve, come out of your old belief systems, and move into the true essence of who you really are. So thank you all for joining me this evening, and please share this for those who want to know more about Iran. We're going to have more and more guests talking about their experience, their journey in other countries and in America, how it relates to us in America who are really very ignorant about what's going on. Everybody have a good evening. Shalom.